Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Welcome to the Deep Tech Night. That's our flagship event that we hold bi-monthly here at Fraunhofer HHI. And this edition is going to be especially in agritech. So our agenda for tonight, we're going to first start with a partner from BIA, presenting a new opportunity for startups that also overlap with this field in climate, deep tech, and AI. Then we're going to deep dive a little bit more in Silicon Valley, what's our approach and what's our offer to startups. And after that, we're going to finally kick off the theme of tonight, deep dive in agritech with a special keynote speaker from ESMT, Berlin. And after that, we're going to have our usual pitches. We're going to have 4 startups pitching tonight and followed by the Q&A from our jury and also audience questions. And after that, we're going to have Fraunhofer HHI Research Uncovered. And after that, it's the usual reminder of some events, and we are ready for network. So to start, I would like to invite Alex from BIA to introduce this new initiative.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Appreciate it. Hi, guys. My name's Alex. I'm the communications manager from the Berlin Innovation Agency, and I'm here to make sure that you all know about our new startup accelerator, which is the Tomorrow Accelerator. It's part of a program that some of you might have heard of. It's the BSS, the Berlin Startup Stipendium, or the Berlin Scholarship. And it's a Berlin Senate-funded program where you, as a startup founder, are invited to come and join our startup accelerator. So if you are selected, it's 2.5K per month for 9 months. The idea is that you can focus full-time on your startup for the 9 months that you are with us. Because it's supported by the Berlin Senate, it's equity-free, so we don't take any equity in your company. We have 15 spots, and we have just started taking applications in the last few weeks. We had a few interviews today, actually. So if you are interested, then make sure that you get in contact with us. You can go to tomorrowaccelerator.com, tomorrow-accelerator.com. And the most important thing is that the 3 verticals that we're currently interested in are climate, AI, and deep tech. So if you have a deep tech startup, AI, climate, then it really is worth applying. It really is worth at least getting in touch, shooting us an email. My colleague Lou, who is in charge of the program, she'll take a call with anyone. So if you think even maybe that climate or deep tech or AI, you might think, oh, maybe I'm a little bit outside of these bounds, just apply. And unless you're way out, unless you're doing something, building a crazy startup that has nothing to do with those fields, then we absolutely have time to have a chat with you. And yeah, so you can either find me here this evening, come and speak to me if you're interested, if you have questions, or on LinkedIn, you can find my colleague Lou Kest, or as I say, just go to the website, just search for Tomorrow Accelerator. I'm happy to announce that as of the last 3 days, we are the top Google search result now for Tomorrow Accelerator. So put that in, and we are result #1. And it's an amazing program. One of our alumni is here this evening, Jen. Shout out Jen and Atmo. And another one of our alumni last week, Julius and the team at Vray. They were from our most recent cohort, and they just closed a seed funding round of 3.3 million euros. So we are the real deal. If you're interested, make sure that you take the time, shoot us an email, or just speak to me this evening and ask any questions that you have, because we'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, that's also a great opportunity to say that many initiatives in Berlin, they can come together and provide more resources for founders. So our program also, there is no conflict with any program that is active-free. So for instance, startups that have this overlap can apply easily to both. Actually, it's a good connection, because then you can have your MVP and have some initial support and then deep dive in more research-oriented. And talking about that, let's deep dive what Silicon Valley is doing. and what's our approach for startups. So we are here to solve a big problem in the deep tech scene. So Europe invests more than 300 billion in science research, but less than 10% becomes ever commercially viable. So the gap that we see here, it's not because research cannot innovate. On the contrary, we have a lot of innovation in scientific papers and patents, and Fraunhofer is a good example of that, of many patents that we have in-house. But the path to bring this innovation to the market, so the path to bring this to actual products that people are using is the gap. And that's what Silicon Valley is here to solve. So in one side, Silicon Valley as the Berlin Innovator Network started since 2011 in Berlin, supporting many impact startups to be accelerated, collecting more than 100 million raised to portfolio startups, and also creating a worldwide investor network. On the other side, we have Fraunhofer HHI with more than 1,000 researchers and PhD students and worldwide leaders in AI, video and imaging, photonics, and wireless communications, literally with some researcher legends since 1928 that created MP3 and every second bit traveling internet's also passing through Fraunhofer technology. So can you imagine the magnitude of these technologies created in-house? And that's the type of thing that lead us to 2 Emmy Awards. So basically, this perfect match between Silicon Valley and Fraunhofer since 2024, it's what create this perfect toolkit for deep tech startups to deep dive and develop further technology. And with that said, every startup working in those fields, in AI, image and video, photonics, and wireless communication, can apply to our program. It's part of the researches that we can connect them in-house. So what's the way that you can best connect and apply to our program? We have one approach now that we call core topic. So we help founders to better understand what topics related to their technology that we can support them with. One that is live now is tuning the mind of AI, which is related to unfolding the black box of AI and creating AIs that are trustworthy, transparent, safe, and aligned. So this is live now. We already received some applications that we are currently evaluating, some startups. The other one that we had available in Gosh Splatting, it's already filled, these 2 spots. So stay tuned to see what's the next startups joining our program. And also another option that you can apply off topic in our website as well. And we have this special interface that is called paperpus.siliconvalley.com. And over there, you can discover current HHI research, and you can search per tags, per department, per technology, and then you can figure out papers that are connected with what you're building. And that's a way that you can apply off topic, telling us specifically what you need, and then we can also evaluate your startup. And what's the approach that we use? What's special about the program that we have in Fraunhofer HHI? We use a different share, which is called virtual shares, that is not like a common equity. So, which means that there is, Fraunhofer is not a stakeholder in your cap table, which means that there is no voting right, no boarding seats. With this, the founders remain 100% ownership of their company. They can take the decisions without any problem, while they still have the deep research involvement with the researchers that we have in-house without any licensing fee. So it's a huge and interesting opportunity for them to have access to exclusive tech licenses, and also maintain a clean cap table, which is a term that is approved by VCs. And with that, we focus on the long term. So when the founders win and raise next fund and can bring this technology to the market, is when everybody wins. And to conclude, how you can get involved with Silicon Valley. If you are a deep tech startup, of course, you are welcome to join and apply to our acceleration. We'll be more than happy to see your application. If you are a researcher or a tech talent, we also have a talent pool, and our team would be more than happy to talk to you. Maybe who is from our team here? Adesi, I'm seeing here in front. Maybe there is some people in the back as well. Grace, come talk to us. Travis is also here. So yeah, find our team, and then you can get connected. And also, if you are an investor, we are more than happy also to have you connected to become part of our investor advisory committee to evaluate the next scalable deep tech startups. And without further ado, let's kick off the theme of tonight, that is agri-tech. So I would like to invite to the stage Niels, that is the head of agri-food at SMT Berlin.
So, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to bring you a message of hope. Yeah. So AgTech is not dead, but it's desperately needed more than ever. But let's look at what's happening at the moment. Perhaps you have seen in the news, the conflict in Iran drives up input prices. Farmers across the world don't know if they can fertilize this year. You know, the temperature goes crazy. The yield variability is off the charts, and there's a huge, you know, elephant in the room. You know, how are we going to feed the world in the future if essentially the system that we have built over decades, you know, is not suitable for the world we live in right now? So there's a message of hope, and the transition to a new paradigm that is biology first can lead to, you know, a massive shift in how we produce food, but also how we utilize land. Now to the bad news. I mean, the current system has led to, the current agricultural system has led to soil degradation, to also kind of a tobacco moment, right? Where essentially the public health burden of the food that we eat and also the way we treat the land is becoming so unbearable that political pressure, societal pressure is there, right? So that means it's clear that something needs to change. But on the other side, we see that the trust in investing in agtech is at the lowest point, right? Like if you talk to many investors, they don't even look at this anymore. So, but on the other side, the fundamentals are becoming even clearer, right? Like the current system is extremely vulnerable, and we need to rely on new technology to shift. So my personal, let's say, innovation thesis is centered on a few, let's say, domains of, you know, how deep tech innovation can support and enable regeneration and for the system to rebound. So one of the pillars is, I call it biological systems intelligence, right? So any type of technology that helps you to really understand the biology in the soil and the plants and the microbiome and the macrobiome, and helps you to engineer the system to understand how do biological inputs have an impact, etc. So everything that helps us to actually engineer the system with a biology-first approach. Yeah, so I think that's a really promising innovation platform, and yeah, that can help to make regenerative farming cost competitive and simply the better economic choice for farmers. But there's, of course, lots of innovation blockers here in the way, but I'll leave that for another talk. The second platform is autonomous intelligent systems, but not, you know, not systems that essentially support the same kind of big, heavy machinery for monoculture cropping, but where I see the big potential is systems that allow, you know, like a more diverse, a more resilient farming system where you have multiple crops integrated into one system, agroforestry systems, etc. And these systems, they can only operate at cost competitiveness if you reduce the reliance on labor, if you improve the essentially the management, the decision making with intelligence. So all from, let's say, planning, designing, farming, processing. So there's a lot of interesting, you know, technology opportunities how to enable more resilient and perhaps more diverse agricultural production systems. And the third domain is essentially resource decoupled systems, right? In a world where heat stress, climate stress is the norm, systems that are less reliant on fresh water and then arable land are of course interesting. So the whole domain of biomanufactured food, but also controlled environments. So these are the 3 top domains I'm excited about. I'm sure there's more, but let's say that's my main thesis. And I think, you know, like we have a very clear signal from Y Combinator. Perhaps some of you saw that for the newest cohort this summer, what is on position number 1? Any guesses? Low pesticide farming, right? So that means one of the top, you know, venture building or support programs in the world puts low pesticides farming on position number 1. And this is, I think, in my view, the inflection point of, you know, like the rough time that agtech has gone through. There has been a lot of failures in the last 10 years. Lots of money has been burned. Why? Because essentially there was a technology-led approach to just push technology in. This is going to be great for the farmers, but nobody has talked to the farmers and also not to the whole industry, right? So that means we need to get back to building stuff. There is a huge opportunity, but it needs to be different than the last couple of years, right? It needs to be derived from actual use cases. It needs to be developed together with the agricultural industry. You need to leverage the existing distribution channels, etc. So, you know, one example of a company that I'm super excited about that just recently raised a round, and I have the honor to be an investor, is Nature Robots. So they developed, the CEO developed, you know, like a specific technology as a PhD over many years that allows small, lightweight robots to navigate in rugged terrain, which is a fantastic technology that enables exactly this autonomous intelligence systems for more diverse and resilient production systems. So that just to make it quite tangible. Now I'm just looking at my notes. So I think what was said earlier is it's clear there is a massive commercialization gap, right? Like Europe in particular sits on a lot of really interesting IP, and how do we bring it, you know, to the farm at the end of the day. So I think there's, of course, lots of interesting programs that help you with it. But I think the most important thing you can do is actually to go on a farm and to talk to a farmer and understand a bit what they're doing. So that's perhaps, you know, like a way to also make it a bit more inspiring. Because if you go to a farmer and you hear their struggles, you know, you will be even more motivated to enable the transformation of the agricultural system, because it's the foundation of life. Yeah. So, and we have now a chance to bring it to a biology first system that is able to deal with climate stress, with you know, all the crises that are on the horizon. So yeah, so that's my main message of hope. So, you know, what brings me to say this, so I scaled HelloFresh in the DACH region. So I come from a food company background and understand what it means to source, you know, ingredients from regions that suddenly, you know, all the paprika is frozen, or suddenly it's too hot, or everything is flooded. So with this in mind, I dedicated my time actually to working on transitioning land to regenerative agriculture over the last couple of years, and now recently joined ESMT, or the Deep Institute for Deep Tech Innovation at the business school, to help, yeah, to ultimately help to close the science to scale gap, specifically in food and ag. Yeah, so we are also launching an accelerator specifically for food and ag in cooperation with Qatar. Yeah, because this is a region that is in particular hit by climate stress and is reliant on resource decoupled technology. So if you're interested in that, reach out. But if you can take one thing away from this talk, you know, there is hope, even though agtech funding is at the lowest point in 15 years. So that's it. Thank you.
If this is working. Okay, perfect. So we can use this microphone from now on. So moving on to finally our pitches. Let's kick off the deep tech tonight. And to start, I would like to give a warm welcome to our jury panel with Bin and Ronan. Thanks for being here. I would like to pass the word to you two to present yourself, what venture capital you're part of, and what's your main field of investment.
Hello, everyone. I'm being investment manager at Brandenburg Capital. So Brandenburg Capital is the VC fund in the state Brandenburg. We invest in startups starting from the seed phase or like the first institutional funding round. We invest not only in software, but also in hardware, in B2B software, drug developments, or the medical devices. I am working in the team industry applications. So I'm in charge of several investments in the industrial B2B hardware and software, and also climate tech. The ticket size starts from 200,000 to 1 million for the first round. Yeah.
Hi guys, so I'm Ronan from Endgame Capital. So I venture scale for Endgame. They're a new climate tech fund based in Brussels. We invest across Europe and the US, North America, so including Canada. What we look for is kind of the seed and pre-seed stage companies. Typically invest 250 to 750K, and we wouldn't lead a round. And the kind of investments that we would look for are broadly across the climate tech space. Endgame's thesis in a nutshell is we invest in what we call climate denier proof. It's an unfortunate phrase, but it basically means your technology needs to be commercially driven. It needs to solve commercial problems, be based on solid needs, and then be cost competitive. We believe those are the ingredients you need to scale solutions. We invest across software as well as hardware, so happy in both of those domains. I guess the last thing is we would typically look for what we would call capital light solutions, so business models that can scale hardware or software in a capital light manner.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us tonight. So without further ado, let's invite our first startup pitching today. Our first startup is helping European farmers to navigate and finance their transition to sustainable agriculture. Please welcome to this stage Jennifer from Atmo.
Hi, I'm Jen with Atmo, and we scale agricultural transition finance. Today, there's a massive financing gap, 62 billion annually, and this is unmet financing demand. 1/3 of that is green financing. As we heard already from Niels, farmers are massively under pressure. And when they think about solutions, it's really fragmented. So let's make this tangible. Meet Hans, our farmer in town. So how does he decide on new investments? He's getting inspiration from his neighbor. His farm advisor has told him that that's a good thing to do, or he spent hours and hours researching. He obviously wants to know not just what's sustainable, but actually what makes him more profitable, what makes him be a good farm in 5 to 10 years. So we help him with that, with the infrastructure that makes farms and forests bankable. How do we do that? So we're a free platform for farmers. On one side, we help them with tailored projects at farm level. So what this means is we take all of the farmers' messy data and we translate it into tailored transition pathways. So we show him which projects make sense, not just short-term, but also to be long-term profitable and sustainable, as well as resilient. On the other side, we show them who are the right providers. So we actually compare providers with each other. And I'm not just talking machinery, but also project developers, and those things that are not clear to farmers at all. Should mention, we also take care of the financing. So we break down the whole capital stack. We look at the whole supply chain. We look at subsidies. We look at different revenue streams, whether they're from the carbon market or the insetting market. How do we do it? We take data from farmers and return tailored transition pathways. We share relevant leads with solution providers and get back verified reductions. We share relevant data with banks in order to enable green financing. And we help food companies to accelerate Scope 3. How is Hans doing? Hans is doing really well with us, because instead of investing in 2 projects that actually make him go into overdraft and have a negative return of investment, he has a positive return of investment and a long-term, resilient, profitable farm. Our target market, so we're looking at the 19 billion euro green financing gap. We think we can capture 1%, which is 190 million. We monetize and go to market through multipliers. So obviously farmers are our main users, but we look to monetize through farm advisors. We make their work more efficient through supply chains, through banks, and for farmers, we may go into a freemium. Where did we get to? So we built our first product iteration with the leading Dutch bank. So we started in the Dutch market with ABN AMRO. We then went into the UK, went live with Oxbury, one of the most innovative agri-banks. We have 6 international banks in the pipeline. We onboarded a lot of solution providers. We have food companies in the pipeline, and also we onboarded farmers. Right now, we're laser focused on Germany. We also secured dilutive and mainly non-dilutive funding with the EU STEP grant. And right now, our focus is to help farmers that are ready to finance. So they share with us their messy data, and we assess everything and do the due diligence and tell them whether this is a good idea, but also get all of the documents ready for their financing so they can actually go to their banker. The other part is they are already in the midst of the transition or starting with it, and we help them to identify viable pathways. So it's not just me, but I have 2 co-founders. The other one is, so I have a background in commercial strategy. I have worked for PepsiCo and large global marketplaces such as Expedia and Delivery Hero. Dennis has a PhD in agriculture, has been one of the lead scientists at a major project developer. Gordon has built Hummingbird, a satellite monitoring system that has been acquired by Agrina, and then built his own agri-supply chain startup in the UK for the past 6 years. Sadly didn't make it. Lucky for us, he's with us now. We have a banker on board, as well as someone who helps us with farmer onboarding, and a bunch of advisors in the relevant banking and ESG space. Well, last slide is missing, but thank you, and join us in our mission to scale agriculture transition finance.
Thanks, Jennifer. We're going to have some questions now from the investors.
Thanks, Jen, for the pitch deck. 2 questions. How do you make money? And the second question is, you said that you offer tailoring to the farmers so they can have like the financing strategy or like documents to the bank. How do you make sure that you can scale up without like, how to balance between like the scaling, the standardization, and also the demand of the customer for tailoring?
Yeah, maybe I start with the second question. So we obviously heavily leverage AI, right? So we can take in all kinds of messy data and then essentially kind of feed this into a predefined model for our transition pathways. And that really allows us, to scale very quickly across markets, but also really to take in anything, right? It can be, a lot of farmers actually don't have business plans and don't have their documents ready. So this is a huge help, and they already pay massive amounts of money to consultancies, for example. How do we monetize? So with banks, most of the cases are actually that we're, a software fee. So because they essentially use us as a transition engine for their existing book, right? So if you think about banks financing farmers, right, they want to transition their book. The other option that we may, or the other direction that we may go into with the banks is loan origination, but we haven't finally decided on it yet. For solution providers, we will charge a marketplace fee, such as any marketplace. And for food companies, also a software fee. And then I mentioned the farmer premium, right? So at this point, it's free. But obviously, as we broaden the product offering, there may be some parts of the product that will be paid.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It was really, really thorough. I wanted to touch on something there. You said you focused in early on Germany, and I'm curious what you saw in the German market that really made it the attractive place to start with.
Yeah, so actually we started in the Netherlands and then the UK. Initially, we didn't see Germany as the right market to start. Or it wasn't a deliberate decision, but it was more, we saw more pull elsewhere. So from my perspective, the Netherlands and the UK are very advanced, right? They already really pushed transition. Netherlands have a massive nitrogen crisis. So there's a lot happening. So these are very attractive market. And from a bank side, they're also very consolidated. There's a handful of banks, whereas in Germany you have 1,700. So quite a lot of fragmentation. And then also I would say Germans tend to be a bit more traditional, a bit more hesitant. However, now, especially with our recent grant funding and the Seed House Accelerator, a lot of doors have opened for us. And we realized that, while Germans may have a slightly different approach, they are tackling it. You can see that the development bank is here now pushing the kind of carbon accounting for the farmers already, right? So it starts with accounting, then it goes into transition and acceleration. So right now we see a lot of interest from both farmers and banks, and actually it is not a hard sale at all to farmers, because they still, even if it's free at this point, they need to share data, and data is power. So.
And I'm curious about how you approach those farmers. So how do you actually get on the ground? Do you meet them in person, or is this kind of, what's your distribution channel at the moment?
Yeah, at this point, usually for introductions. So obviously, people that make introductions to other farmers that they know. We obviously have someone on board who has an existing network of 2,000 farmers, who can just put something on WhatsApp and gets a lot of responses, but also approaches them directly. And then we are currently also approaching obviously other go-to-market channels like consultancies, associations. There's a lot of associations in Germany, right, that can open doors, as well as supply chains.
Brilliant, thank you.
We have another 1 minute for one question from the audience, perhaps.
First of all, I'm not sure, is it totally based on AI, or is there some in-flesh consultants behind it?
No, if it would be totally based on AI, then it would probably be nonsense, right? I mean, then it would definitely not.
I didn't say this, but that was my thought, actually.
Yeah, no, there would, first of all, there would be no IP in it, right? Anyone could copy it. So obviously we have a proprietary data model, hence why we have, a scientist on board that we have built, but we use AI for data ingestion and obviously, scaling it. But no, the model is the IP.
So the idea is you give some data to the AI, you give your aim, what you want to do, what you want to reach, and then the AI is getting some consultancy, what is the best way to do it. But then I would say that they're totally different approaches, totally different customers there. The customers, they only want to buy a new machinery. The customers, they want to totally transit their business. And the customers, perhaps they want to start a business. So I think it's totally different cases then.
So we never ask the AI to just determine what to do, right? So we have determined what they should be doing. And then there are different input cases, right? Which it's tailored to then every different kind of farmer. And yes, we will have 2 use cases, right? One that already has an idea of what he wants to do. We then assess it and validate it. The other case is basically where he doesn't know yet what to do, or maybe it's not set on it. And then we give him a recommendation. But if it were purely based on AI, then I think it would be wildly inaccurate, probably. And yeah, it would be not something I'd recommend.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thanks for your amazing presentation. Moving to our second startup that we'll be pitching today, they are building AI scanner for the physical world. So imagine turning trees and infrastructure from raw data into real-time, decision-ready digital twins. Please welcome to the stage Hadi from Dartbot.
So, hello everyone. I'm Hadi from Dartbot. So, unfortunately, this pitch is not the main pitch for this event. So, it's mostly read deck with a lot of extra slides. So, I'm forced to skip a few of them. Sorry for that. I hope I can manage it. Just in last June, in 2025, a big storm happened in Berlin. More than 1,000 trees fell down. 2 people killed, a lot of injuries. And even in Kreuzberg neighborhood, it cost more than 80,000 euros to clean the streets. And there were already these risky trees in that street, but no one saw that. And it is not just about trees. It's about whole infrastructure. There is already a big, massive market on surveying, measurement, and inspection of the natural and also built environment. Something up to $250 billion. And it's all about data. But the problem is that we are really good in data gathering. The core is data processing. There is around 1 to 20% of the work for data gathering, and more than 80% of the time will be wasted on data processing. So that caused a lot of delay and increase the risk. So what is our solution to reduce this risk and also to cover this problem? It's super simple. We remove whole 80% of data processing after data gathering by having the first AI scanner, which is industry specific. Or a scanner can detect, measure, and inspect the object, the target object related to that industry on site real time. So we do not save the raw data, we just save what is important and inspect the data on time. But we started from trees. Why trees? Why now? There is already an urgent problem in cities. The risks are rising in cities and also the costs are rising. So our hardware can deploy on different platforms, on the car, on the rail, even on the air, and also on the robot die. So we are flexible to go to any market with that hardware, even in different infrastructure. So what our customer get? First, the detailed inventory, and then also the risk assessment and inspection. So cities know which trees are in high risk and which trees are safe. So they can prioritize the action. And it's just not about trees. We will scale to all infrastructure. We started from urban trees, and also then we scale to utilities and trees, forestry, nursery, and orchard. And again, trees are just a start object. We will scale to all infrastructure. I will scale a lot of extra slides. If there is any question, I return to that. We started, but we have a really great pilot project. More than 10 pilot projects in Germany, more than 3 also paid deployments from scientific, public sector, cities, and even the industry sector. So it already shows the real demand in this market. And it's a team, combination of the AI expert and domain expert in trees, forestry and infrastructure, inventory and inspection. And now we are in the pre-seed round. We are raising around 1.4 million, and our milestone is to deploy up to 50 devices and also customers, and to be able to reach to 1 million ARR at the end of the pre-seed round. This is our vision. We are building the data infrastructure for smart cities. We start from trees, and we will scale to all objects. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It's really, really cool. I'm just curious if you could maybe speak to your team's unfair advantage here. It feels like there's a lot of deep tech in behind those slides that really brings it together.
Sorry, the advantage of the team, or also compared to the competitor? I didn't get the question exactly.
Yeah, so in your team's makeup, what makes your team the one that's going to really commercialize this?
Okay. So in the team, two of us, Chigon and I, started from, we did our PhD in urban forestry AI, machine learning in urban forestry. So we already work on this sector for a long time. But the core of the advantage of our team, because we were from TU Munich, and when we reach any city, almost 50% of that city already heard about us. So that was really easier for us to enter to this market. And that was another reason that we choose urban forestry instead of forestry or other tree-related market. That was about market, but also about the technology. We did our PhD on that area. For example, the data that we are using, the core was also the first pilot project was already developed in our PhD. So we already have the sample and test project when we were reaching the customer. I hope I could answer the question.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And I'm also curious, I might have missed it there, but how big do you think?
So can you raise your mic?
Yeah, I might have missed it, but how big do you think that tree market is as your beachhead market?
Yeah, that's a nice question. Honestly, we thought about that a lot, yeah. But there were a few reasons. One is that there is not enough technology or digitalization, especially in urban trees. Second is that, as I mentioned, it's really urgent because of the climate change also is going to be worse. For example, a few years ago, one storm happened each few years, but nowadays at least 1 or 2 storms each year. But again, I repeat that one of the core was that we already had a good connection with most of the cities in Germany. So that makes us this unfair advantage to easily test and validate our technology, and exactly we did. Even it was B2G, but we could do that in really quick time.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you describe your ideal customer profile?
In tree industry? Just in tree industry, or?
Yeah, the first, or the low-hanging fruit, the one that you want to target first, yeah.
Okay, our B chart market was urban tree. So it's municipalities, heritage park, or any tree owner. That can be even the university campuses, or whoever is own the big number of the trees, that the risk of them are really important, because officially and legally they are responsible for any risk or any damage happen for the people or infrastructure close to that tree. So they are responsible to that, so they will pay us to check the trees. They have to pay, they have to check the trees regularly. Then there are forestry sectors, especially in edge of the forestry, and also the utility sector. That's, for example, how power line and the railway in Germany, in whole Germany and world, they have to check how trees close to the railway and power line. There is a gap around 6 meters. And they have to control and inspect all of that. That's also another market, beach out market for us.
How about the cost? Like, how do you price your product, and how do you quantify the value that you give to the customers?
The business model is one-time pay for hardware, and then recurring model for SaaS model for that they pay each year. So there's a price. But our competitor they are getting or charging €4 per tree. So that's some.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hadi. In matter of time, we're going to move to the next startup pitching. So the next startup, they are making farming accessible and efficient to every farmer. So please welcome to the stage Allee from Dynamo Bot.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Ali Reza, founder of DynamoBot. We are a startup and a spin-off from University of Bonn and a DFG cluster project, which we believe we can provide precision farming for every farm. If we take a look at the problems which the farmer are facing nowadays to do or deal with their daily tasks, there are a lot of them because they should do a lot of things. They should go to the farm for weed management, crop management, and all of that. And basically, there's one common problem or need for that is that they want something which is more sustainable, more plant-specific, and basically brings less harm to the farm. We have two solutions and basically two different categories. First, for the organic farmers, basically the solutions which the organic farmers are basically having right now is organic, but not at all economic. For example, for only 1 hectare of weeding, they need 4 days with a group of 5 people, which basically costs a lot, like basically like 4,500 euros. But what we are offering them for the first time is a machine which is a direct output of my PhD in the DFG cluster project, and it's patented technology. And it could do crop management and the weed management both at the same time with a multi-head technology which could do chemical, mechanical, and electrical interventions based on the type of the plant and their needs at the same time. So basically reducing the time which farmer needs to manage that 1 hectare of land to only two hours. It just needs a driver. Basically, the system was autonomous, but then we retrofitted it to a basically track the trailer to lower the adoption barrier. Also, it's pretty cost efficient for them. On the other hand, when they are not organic farmer, basically they are spraying everywhere, and every farmer has a sprayer that they use for pesticide application or herbicide applications, and basically what they do is that they just spray everywhere. So you might guess that, okay, there's not plants or targets everywhere, so why they are spraying everywhere? So that is what regulations are basically pressing, and all the wasting of money and chemical is coming or driving from, and basically around 80% of the money and the time goes away for nothing, only by spraying that. So what we are giving them is basically sorry for the low quality image, but it's an eye to their existing machines. So they are not pushed to buy like 500,000 machines, which they are actually. So the current solution which they have, either they should reduce the amount of spray with the hectare of their cultivation and do it by hand, for example, spraying, or they should buy a machine, complete sprayer with the system of spot spraying, which costs a lot. What we are giving them is an eye to their own existing machine, which could basically give them cameras with AI, basically edge AI running on the cameras, and then we have some spraying caps which just snaps into the sprayers, and within 1 hour or 2 hours, it just transforms a old sprayer to a spotted sprayer. Really easy, and basically we have been deploying it in different farms in NRV. Most of the solutions comes with a cloud monitoring application, which basically gives the farmer what is going on in the farm, and they could use it for further or future basically decision making, and all of that data, or AI, which we are using in both the solutions, are driven from a extensive amount of data which we have collected through 5 years of data collection, specifically designed farms for weed management and pest management, basically. When we take a look at the business model for the robotic system, we are charging them based on their use. So it's basically 1,500 euros per hectare, and then they will get charged based on the use of the monitoring app, all the other features. For the camera system, we call it VC, and then that is basically one-time sale, and then add on the SaaS option and the adoption of the AI for different farms. When we take a look at the market, basically both of them are huge. So it's agriculture, it's pretty easy to guess, but for example, only for the camera system, we can say that more than 65% of the tractors in the agriculture are outdated and they need to be replaced. So we already have made a lot of progress from several types of proof of concept to MVPs, and basically having tractions from Germany and US. And we are an official partner with Bayer. And the team also, sorry for longer, the team is coming from different backgrounds. Basically, me and myself from my co-founder Amir Irfan from technical, and we have a third-generation farmer, Max, which is giving us a lot of regular experiences and a basically a huge network for the farming. And yeah, thank you so much for your attention. Sorry for getting a bit over the time.
Thank you. I'm curious about your technical roadmap.
Sorry?
I'm curious about your technical roadmap. So is that unit finished and ready for production, or?
Yes. So we have actually, the system basically got developed, like the first one got developed during 5 years from 2020 to 2024, and we have actually every year have deployed and basically improved it in the real farms. So there's no question on that. And then within basically 8 months, we turned that technology, or basically scaled it up again to the trailer format. So the trailer format is already being used in Bayer. So we have a contract with the company Bayer, and they are supporting us. But basically, it's a proof of concept, and they are supporting. So it's completely functional. Regarding the camera system and the AI which is sitting inside, we are building the whole hardware and software, and we are basically using, for example, the processors are NVIDIA Jetson boards, which they are, I would say, commodity products these days. But we've been recently selected as the NVIDIA Inception program, so they are also a partner that they are giving us to really get the top performance of the edge computing on their own devices. So it's basically, we had this vision to getting into mutual partnership with this big role players that they could give us a hand, because it was a lot, actually.
And how do you think about manufacturing? How do you scale that side of the business?
Yeah, so for the manufacturing, all of those were basically coming from outsourcing. Basically, the hard, I would say the heavy parts were coming from the outsourcing. The electronics was done in-house, and the software, all of that was in-house. Whatever you can imagine, from cloud computing to the edge computing, all of that software was in-house, also electronics. The only part which we were outsourcing was the heavy mechanics, also the linear. For example, this robotic system, basically these nozzles have some linear axes that they could move linearly. Those modules are maybe the main components which they might be fragile, maybe someone think, but they are basically coming from a industry-grade company called Egos that we have actually designed it both in a collaboration to fit into our application.
Brilliant, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. What is the core of your innovation? Like, what do you file for patent?
Yes, basically the core of the, I would say the starting point of everything was that white robot and the technology which is embedded in the robotic system. We have filed the application or a machinery which could have more than one intervention tool, more than one type of intervention tool. So this machine could do thermal, basic thermal, chemical, and mechanical interventions, and it has basically these 8 arms. It could move laterally, and then basically based on the vision or the camera, which detects each of the plants and then assigns a special intervention on each plant. That is the core invention, and that is patented. Also on the camera system, making the whole module really plug and play, and we are basically using wireless technology that these nozzles, because these sprayers has like more than 25 sprayers per machine, so it's a lot of cabling. So we were working on to try to basically reduce the hassle for adapting the system and making it really plug and play, that also people could transfer from one machine to another. So if they upgrade the machine or they have several machines, they could just easily transfer from one machine to another. So that was basically another USP for us.
Cool. In your market entry strategy, who are the gatekeepers in the market that you need to convince or need to?
Yes. So we are, so for both of them, one of the main contact points are the farmers themselves, so that we are talking to, especially the owners of the sprayers, for example, or the organic farmers. But actually in the farming, farmers are used to these ag service companies, that they are the companies that provide services. And we are basically contacting them for getting the robotic system in their hands that they could use and give the services instead of us. Yeah?
One last question is, you presented the mortar robot as a service. I think like it is a stretch for a startup, because you need to fund it and keep it in your own balance sheet. Do the customers prefer that, or it's
yes, that's something which basically reduces the upfront investment needs for them. So they do not need to, sorry, wrong direction. They do not need to invest at the beginning, and the maintenance is another problem which they are always basically worried. So this is basically the best which could be done for the farmers, and it is basically validated. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We have 1 minute more, maybe for one question from the audience. Anybody that didn't make a question before in other events, perhaps? Somebody in agritech? Different person that didn't make a question before? Okay, we got one in the back. Thanks, always good to see new people.
First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. Wanted to ask, where do you manufacture the systems, or how do you source the technology?
The electronic parts and the software part, I would say the development and everything is in-house, like in our own workshop. The heavy mechanical parts, which you saw in the robotic system, that is basically outsourced to, like there are a lot of these mechanical, I would say, workshops, which they do these things for us, like bending the steel or cutting laser cutting the sheets and such things. It is in Germany, basically in Leverkusen, because we are now in the campus of Bayer in Leverkusen, Mannheim.
Thank you so much. For our next startup, we're going to try something for the first time. We have our guest that is going to join us remotely. It's a startup that works with robot attachments for tractors that harvest vegetables automatically. So please, we're going to welcome Lorenzo from Prefiro to join us remotely. Welcome, Lorenzo.
Thank you very much for the short introduction. Can you hear me? Yes, apparently. Thank you very much for the short introduction. It's really nice to join you guys. Although I would have loved to have been there in person. I'm currently at an event in Heilbronn, so I have to be there remotely, but afterwards there's all my contact details, and I think the question round will be all the same. Then I won't let you guys wait. Yeah. In Germany, over 50% of vegetables are still harvested completely manually. This is, of course, very expensive. With the new labor laws, it is expected that the labor cost percentage in harvesting is now rising to over 80% of cost. But even worse for farmers is the lack of qualified labor. In the last 20 years, the labor force has shrunk by over 30%, and this trend is even more accelerating. We have partner farmers that have told us if they don't get an alternative soon, they'll have to shut down parts of their farms soon. But they are lucky because I am Lorenzo, co-founder and CEO of Prefiro, and we have an alternative. We are developing the first selective automated harvesting machine for these specialty crops. Our machines are tractor attached and can be simply driven over the field, looking at each individual plant, detecting if it's ready, and when it is ready, harvesting it with the same quality as an experienced field worker, but with a cost saving of up to 40%. How do we make this possible? Our machines consist of three main components. First, we have the computer vision system that detects the plant and its readiness. We are building a 3D environment of the field and tracking everything. Then, if a plant is detected as ready, our robotic system moves to the plant while driving in real time and cuts it with our proprietary cutting head. In this system, the cutting heads are specialized to each individual crop, and in the future, we only have to swap out this part as well as the AI system to move from one crop to the next. How does this impact the farmer? Our machines are up to 39% cheaper than manual labor. The machine can be used of an area of 13 hectares, and we'll be bringing this up to 20 in the near future. And with a price of 250,000 euros, the farmer has an amortization rate of under 3 years. To give you a better idea, one machine replaces around 18 field workers. As I've said, our machines can work with a lot of different crops if we only swap out a few parts. We are currently starting with green asparagus in Germany, where we see a lot of interest from farmers, which is a 100 million euro market. But expanding worldwide and then reaching more crops like broccoli, cauliflowers, artichokes will be expanding into a huge global market. We have already been testing on the field for some time. The company has been founded at the end of 2024, and we're currently in our second season and the first season with a full machine. We will be testing with 8 farmers commercially this season, and afterwards start into production. Here, a few more numbers to signify how large our market pool is. We've shown our machine on 3 different fairs and have now over 100 qualified leads with over 14,000 hectares of green asparagus in Germany and Europe. This is a revenue potential in the hundreds of millions, and we have 8 pilot customers that are working with our machine this season, as I've already said. The rest of the team is working hard on the field, but I could get some free time for the pitch. But I will be back on the field this weekend. We are a team of 8 people. We are spun out from KIT and University of Hohenheim. I am a COO, mostly I'm an industrial engineer, and I mostly work in Geschäftsführungstätigkeiten and sales. My co-founder is a mechanical engineer, also from KIT, and he's leading our development. And the rest of the team is also development focused. So we have AI engineers, software engineers, and mechatronics engineers. And we are supported by a wide variety of business angels from industry, so from agtech machinery, from heavy machinery production, and also some software agents. We are Profuro, and we are enabling the first alternative to manual labor in vegetable harvesting. And I'm inviting you to join our journey and finally give an end to labor shortages and problems in farming. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. It's really, really cool and exciting to see it in the field and in action. I'm curious if you could touch on who you think your closest competitors might be in this space. I think there are some other robotic kind of behind the tractor units. I'm curious if you could expand on that.
Of course. Thank you very much for the question. Well, I have prepared a slide. So here. So in general, agtech is it's always crop specific and task specific. So we are working in vegetable farming and especially asparagus harvesting. And so mechanical weeders are not our competition. This is an entirely different field. We have other projects that have worked on asparagus farming. We have a, let's say, a wide range competitor in AVL Motion that is working with white asparagus. They are pretty successful and currently launching in market. Really nice machine, but not a competitor to us because white asparagus and green asparagus, even though they are both asparagus, are harvested in very different ways and are not convertible in one to each other. And to say for us, it's even easier to go into these other crops I've mentioned, like broccoli, that are above the ground. We have companies that have worked with green asparagus for a while. So we have Christiansen that has done non-selective harvesting. So you just harvest everything from the field, but this leads to up to 80% of harvest loss for the farmers and is therefore not attractive. Muddy Machines and all of these companies to the left have developed fully autonomous harvesting solutions that work in a stop and go manner. So they stop each time to harvest. This is, they are, all have pretty much stopped developing, and this is not really attractive. If you go into broccoli, there's a few more companies working there, but it's a huge market, and we are currently technology leader in how well we can harvest while driving and detect plant readiness.
Thank you. And I wonder if you could touch briefly on your plan to scale up manufacturing. How do you plan to produce the units once you've completed these pilots?
Well, I like this question. We have started with, we have our 8 partner farmers and are planning to sell 5 to 10 machines at the end of the year with a price of around 250,000 is already a pretty good market entry, I would say, and we'll be producing them. We have partners in manufacturing. Of course, we'll never do steel manufacturing. We're working with a pretty big, technology or farming technology company from Bavaria on this. They are producing it for us, and we'll be building the first 5 to 10 machines, or like assembling them ourselves, because it's very important that you get a really good view into what works in the machine, what is easy to manufacture, where are possible errors that we can react quickly and can service our farmers. But in the longer term, then when scaling up for 2027, at the end of 2027, where we want to go into a full production line of 50 machines and then scale up from 50, 150, 390, and so on and so forth. We'll be outsourcing more and more with more and more clarity of the product and improvements implemented.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I were a farmer, I would have a big headache in selecting a robot for my farm. So, what kind of partnerships will you use to reach out to the customers, and yeah, so that they help you to educate the customer a little bit?
Thank you very much for the question. In general, I have the luxury that the farmers are reaching out to us. We get a lot of inbound requests for the machines. We are very well positioned in our markets. In Germany, we are collaborating with the largest asparagus association, which the VSSE, which is really pushing our machines. But it's a huge need. Like the farmers really can't afford to work with workers, and if they can afford it, they just don't like it. It's a lot. In German, you'd say es menschelt in each corner of working, and this is not really popular with the farmers. So the interest is really high, and we're currently testing in the field. We're doing field demonstration this season, and aside from this, sales mostly goes through conventions and direct outreach. But we have a backlog from Germany and Europe. So our main task now is to prove that the machine is viable in the field and then start scaling up.
Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo. And finally, to conclude our presentations of tonight, we finally would like to invite our research from Fraunhofer HHI. I would like to welcome to the stage Hagu that will present Akrat project.
My name is Raghu Chaliganti. I guess I'm the one or maybe one of the few coming from agriculture background at HHI. So today I would like to drive through. We heard quite a lot about the farms, and I'm bringing to small and marginal farmers which are having less than 2 hectares of land. So how to deal with them, how to help them. They are very vulnerable to climate conditions and global warming and many things. So every degree or any change in the temperature, which will lead to use losses, yield losses. So at the same time, we know you ask any AI, tell about the story, about the challenges. So we know that post-harvest losses 30 to 40% in average in a global level. And we trying to address their challenges. And I'm very proud to say that this is the first project where working in the ground level and with the real world conditions with farmers in Telangana in India. So we know, I see that here a lot of startups here, and they're building their prototypes and trying to validating the prototypes in different scenarios. But we know on average, if you talk very specifically, there are more than 70 plus platforms, data platforms which exist, which are trying to bring the farmers to have to register somehow to get their incentives, the government schemes, many things. But similarly, at the same time, the growth of the private sector, particularly startups, more than almost closely 3,000 startups were recently registered in India. So what is the question, the survival rate of the startups? My opinion, pretty much low. Why? Because they're far from the ground reality. So they have very good technology, but they're not reaching to the market, reaching to the farmers. so not reaching the last mile, how to help them, how to understand their challenges. So that's the way the Acrot try to build an integrated approach, integrating the different startups together, because every startup, there are their expertise and different particular thing. Maybe someone talking about the pest, someone talking about the weather, someone talking about things. So how do we integrate them rather than have different silos, 100 silos, but how to bring them together to provide a integrated solution to the farmers. That's the way we worked with local agriculture university in Telangana, at the same time incubation center, where they try to build the startups to validate the technologies together. So you will see the several working with local government together, university and startups in Telangana. So that's exactly what I mentioned, that someone working in satellite data and some work in drone data and some work in weather data or soil data. So we wanted to see the whole value chain of the crop, either any crop, from the seed putting in the soil and to until you are harvesting. So we need to understand and also provide the farmer more sustained solutions and more timely solutions. So at the same time, most of the startups, they're very good technology side, but you need to understand the domain knowledge, agriculture knowledge. So there are, every country, they have their own existing extension systems where they're trying to provide the solutions, advice to the farmers. At the same time, this advice, well, very not much integrated technology. You should also integrate them to provide their knowledge and the farm knowledge and together innovate solution. So what we did in Telangana in India, we identified several farmers, farmer producing organizations. You can see in the map the georeference data. So in 3 villages we worked locally, and we did several capacity building workshops to understand the digital literacy rate, to understand the technology, the innovation. So we did that steps, and we analyzed the strength and weakness and opportunities of the startups as well as the farm level and also the local regional things. So you can see in the picture several startups, we deployed the technology on the farm level, and we are very proud to say that there's the first woman farmer we trained. She was able to run the drone and also apply the chemicals and pesticides. So I guess most of them who are coming, any knowledge in agriculture, 70 to 80% are labor from women in agriculture sector. So we are very happy that we have first women who were able to fly the drone and also to operate work on the farm level. So we use several technology. One, we're working on the soil sampling, soil analysis, and other one you can see the light traps and the cotton field and also the soil sensor. So we're trying to integrate this knowledge at the same time, also several data workshop with the startups. So rather than building everyone their own apps, they have a more integrated approach. So we provide the farmers timely to, this one example, to understand the stress detection on the rice farm level, exactly at which stage, either the stress could be a water or stress could be a disease or pest, and timely to inform them time specifically the farmers able to cope with that and to minimize as much as the productive losses. In other example, I guess I've seen something, previous slides, we're trying to understand the pest behavior. So every pest, and for example, in the rice, they're active at a certain time, certain night time, some of them, early morning or something. So we understand the pest behavior. So we integrate the eye trappers, and which provides the images to us. We also developed the annotation tool to see the intensity of the pest. So based on that, we are able to provide the solution to the farmers. So we are very proud that the farmers who are working, they reduce 30% use of the pesticides. So that again lead to as much as you resource conservation. So because high pesticide application leads to several environmental problems and health problems. If you reduce this, so cost automatically reduce. So this is one good example we have done. It's not only the Accurate project, we have another project which aiming to analyze this soil. I know most of the projects, they emerge and disappear, most particular research backgrounds. But what we tried to more integrate them together. The same platform which we developed, the other project also to integrating, and you can see that in the picture. So providing the information soils to the farmers based on the satellite data. So we analyzed more than 110K sample points, which we received from the local government, but at the same time, through GIS that we analyzed 600 samples on the soils, and we build a model. We're able to predict the soil micro and macronutrients. At the same time, same platform, so we can use that information. And we developed in the local language so that farmers are able to understand the local things. We didn't also to leave that part, but we also to how to scale up this project. This is one pilot project, it's more on the farm level, but we have to how to scale up this project. So we have several policy workshop with local government, so local agriculture ministry and IT ministry and agriculture university professors. So we showed our project results so that they can further take to scale up to the project next level. So what makes better this Accurate project? So Accurate project is very farmer-centric. We try to build the platform which is much more global ITU, aligned with ITU standards and also ISO standards, much more open access, more interoperable, so that rather than have 1,000 silos, having more integrated, interoperable digital platform. So closing to that, so what we do at the global level, the more on the ground level to the global level. So 2004 to 2005, we had AI and IoT for digital agriculture, the focus group, together with FAO and ITU, we try to understand the use cases, we to understand the standards and also standard gaps, how to improve that global level. You can see in the picture, recent AI and Impact Summit, we also organized a session to build the policy process and governance structures to understand how to build the interoperable platforms at the scale. So here I would like to say thank you. If any questions, feel free to.
Thank you, Agu. There is any questions that anybody would like to bring from the project? Maybe questions here in the back.
In the front. In the front.
Yeah.
Front. We talk later.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. So I have been looking at India also recently, and yeah, as you say, there's a lot of agtech innovation coming from India. What do you think we can learn, in Europe from the Indian agtech companies?
Thank you, very interesting question. So agtech, particularly to the agriculture sector, so there are several digital farm infrastructures now building in India because Indian agriculture is highly incentivized. So what the government is trying to mobilize the incentives through a proper mechanism. So that's where I see the development quite advanced in India. And at the same time, the smartphones usage in India is much, much high. So its reachability also too much high, in my opinion. So very specifically, I don't know much of that. Okay.
Yeah, we're also going to have time for networking, so we can continue the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hagur. So to continue in time for our networking session, I also would like to bring some reminders of our events. We have our next monthly meetup happening next week on May 5th in Kreuzberg. So that's May 12th. So we just got an update about that, May 12th. So keep tuned in our website. And the next Deep Tech Night is coming to Hanover, and it's going to be in June 23. So if you want to pitch and you are available to also do this travel with us to Hanover, you can screen the QR code and apply to pitch. We don't know the topic yet. But yeah, keep tuned, and then you're gonna know. And we also have a message from the founder Lorenzo that just pitched at last. He's raising the seed round at the beginning of 27. So if anybody is interested in talking to him, you can come to us and we're gonna make the introduction. And without further ado, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And now we can enjoy the food and enjoy networking, addressing our specific questions, and have more time for deeper talks. Thank you so much.